What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for this week's episode of My Hero Academia Season 6. Another phenomenal episode, man. Overhaul got that cameo that I was hoping for. I was hoping Overhaul would get a cameo, and he did, so that was nice to see, man. Might even do a WA reaction to this episode just for that cameo. Not too sure yet. But first and foremost, guys, I am recording this on Saturday. I leave for the airport in like a couple hours or so I'm probably not going to finish up recording the review while I'm here. So you guys, this review will probably get delayed till Sunday. And if you guys hear a difference in like the audio quality, once I'm back in the dorms to finish off the rest of the review, that is why. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. The reaction might end up being up before that, just so you guys have something on Saturday to watch. But yeah, whatever the case may be, let's just jump right in. This episode was amazing, man, especially the second half. But the next episode preview, man, looks absolutely insane. But we'll talk about that afterwards. Anyway, let's just jump right in. So we start the episode off inside of Tartarus. We get some more narration from Izuku, who's kind of explaining the prison, and that some say it's just a prison, but really it's a very secure facility to keep the most dangerous of villains inside there. And the deeper you go in, the more dangerous you are. And that is rumor that once you go in, you never come out. It is the dark side of Quark society. And of course, All For One is all the way at the bottom of this facility as they're watching over him. We then head over to the outside opening of the prison, where we have these two guards that are watching, that are looking up. Which weirdly, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the guy with the red one, I forget their names. He had these armor pieces or whatever around his arms or on his arms and stuff, and they kind of reminded me of All Might Silver Age costume with the red and the circle. Just looked like that. I don't know if that's meant to be some sort of connection or something, but that's just something I noticed. Thought it looked a little bit similar. But anyway, they're talking about what happened with Endeavor and how Shigaraki and a bunch of other villains and Shigaraki and a bunch of Nobles are on the run currently. And so as they keep talking about that, that's when the robots start to activate. And of course, we see that the Nobles have come in there to, of course, break out All For One. As he said that it's now time for him to break out, and he's not going to give, or I guess Shiga All For One or Shigaraki, I have no idea how I'm supposed to refer to him now. Tell Spinner and the rest of the league that they're not going to give the heroes a time to rest. It's time for us to meet up and break out my original body. So the Nobles are getting there. Of course, one of them has a fucking force field. Another one was not. It was in no way inspired by Asnod, although it does look like him with the spikes and everything. The second I looked at him, I'm pretty sure he mentions in the reaction that he looks very similar to Asnod. His design looked very similar to Asnod, and so they're trying to face up, trying to beat them. The Nobles, obviously, they lose. One of the guards goes on the comms that the guys in Tartarus tell him that his brother was killed. That's a code red. Declare a code red. That's when Shigaraki comes in there and breaks through the opening of the door, and the breakout begins. When we then cut back to 3 minutes before that, inside of Tartarus, where we see the guys in the main control room, with the security cameras and everything watching over All For One, and they're talking about Makia, and they say tomorrow's gonna get brought into the prison. And one of the guys is kind of wondering why can't we just shoot him, and because of his skin and his size, guns probably wouldn't work on him. The bullets would probably just bounce right off him. He is the walking disaster and all that shit. And because he is still, I guess, technically human, even though he doesn't really look like that much like a human, he looks way more monstrous than human. I don't know, maybe it's just how his quirk works. Whatever the case may be, they can't drop him with a miss. So that's how the question was. And then we have one of the guys who looks like he's one of the higher ups. His hair is a different color. He's standing up and kind of walking around the screens, acting like he is a bit more a superior officer in this this section of the prison. But whatever the case may be, he says he wouldn't call someone like that human. He's more like a walking disaster or a beast. Just like all the other animals being held here, as we see a panning shot of all the prisoners, or some of the prisoners inside of Tartarus. And you got one of the guy being like, "Hey, bro, hey, bro, watch what you stop it. This is being recorded." The hard mind party might have probably broken up with you, but that doesn't mean that. But you don't want to give fodder to the other factions. We're already getting enough flack for the human rights violation of it. Which, honestly, given the way how Izuku and this scene as well has kind of explained how this prison operates and everything, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this prison was in some ways inspired by Guantanamo Bay, because it seems like it's kind of doing that kind of similar things where it's very hush hush. The actual standards and human rights and stuff like that probably isn't taking the best of care of, what I'm saying, man. Probably not as bad as Guantanamo Bay, but it seems to be a likened to Guantanamo Bay. At least that's what I get the feeling of. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it seems that this might be inspired by Guantanamo Bay when it was building and constructing this place. Whatever the case may be, he continues on saying, "You don't know who's leaking this day," but so just be careful. He's like, But he's like, but it's the truth. They just look like humans. They blend in with humans now because quirks have altered society, but they're repulsive things. They're fundamentally different from us. I thought that was interesting. It kind of like brought in some of the X-Men comparisons back into Hiroaka with, how mutants are treated and everything. Kind of reminded me of that, something akin to X-Men. It seems like we might be going more in that direction now, where like heroes are more looked down upon, or there's not, or people don't really look as fondly on heroes nowadays compared to what they did earlier on in the series. Just from what I gather, it seems like that's the direction Horror Coach has been going for like these last few arcs. We'll have to wait and see on that. That is when the Code Red. That's when the Code Red starts up, and of course, you get back in the scene. Everyone's like, shutting the prison down and everything to stop Shigaraki for one, and the others from breaking through the prison. They take down the bridges that connects it to the mainland, so they are now completely isolated with the prison. So we see a bunch of like floating drones coming there try to take on the Nomus, but the Nomus just start bouncing and just start annihilating them. We see Shigaraki riding on one of the Nomus as Shigaraki actually starts to regain his body, starts to regain consciousness, and all for wants something, hey man, go back to sleep, let your body heal, your super regeneration isn't working, and I need your body to be healed. And so Shigaraki says to give him back his body, and All For One tells you found the world that to reach out to help you. And you want power to satisfy your enemy. This is the result of your strong will. And also, gotta say, one other thing I gotta say. The music here was once again fantastic, especially the scene right here when Shigaraki, or Shiga One, whatever the fuck you want to call him, jumps off the Nomu and is like floating towards the building, one of the buildings inside Tartarus. I thought that scene was really well done. But another scene that I also really liked, that I thought was shot pretty well, is we see Shigaraki and All For One inside, this whatever, his mind or whatever. And we see, and then Shigaraki tells him he doesn't want to be his pawn. And he says, you get it wrong, Tomura. You are my very precious next self. As we see that, first of all, Shigaraki is actually tied up by some sort of red thing. And look, which I thought was kind of interesting, that he is currently tied up as All For One is taking up over his body. I thought that was interesting. And I love the shot where he says, you're my precious next self, where we see All For One's hands close in on Shigaraki before they're completely locked in there. It fades to black, and then we see, and then his eye fades back in there when he's using searching. I thought that scene was done. That was really cool, man. So he uses decay to take down one of the buildings, and Shiga All For One comments out that he's all the way at the very bottom of Tartarus, which is like 500 meters deep, and that even if he wanted to use decay, he wouldn't be able to handle the water pressure, and due to his body, he wouldn't be able to because his body isn't 100% yet. But there is a way. And so that's when he uses the EMP that disrupts all the systems of Tartarus. And then we see, this is something I'm kind of interested about, and I'm kind of curious who this ends up being. First off, this shows me where we see this like black lightning or purple lightning coming out of one of the prison doors, and it ends up like taking out like a couple of the security cameras. But I love the way the camera just pans, like pulls back as we see the lightning going all over the place. I'm pretty sure the background was CGI here, but it looked amazing, man. Either way, I love the shot. This scene was pretty cool. But I'm pretty sure that this is the quirk, given who comes out of the door. I'm pretty sure this is the quirk of the new chick that's going to be introduced in this arc that everyone's been sipping over on Twitter. I want to say that's her quirk, and she like has some like black lightning type quirk or something like that. Either way, it looked cool. But we see her coming out there, then All For One finally reaches out there, where we see he's also carrying something on his back, which we see at the end of the episode. It looks like it's like a heart monitor or something he's carrying with him. I don't even know why he's carrying. Maybe it helps him breathe or something, because we know All For One, had that like breathing thing as well at the beginning of the series. So that's probably what it is. It's probably some like heart monitor or breathing thing that helps him, breathe. Whatever the case may be. We then get a flashback to when All For One and All Might met up. I think this was in season 3, at the end of season 3, where All For One talks about what Tartarus means, how it's the god of the underworld in Greek mythology, and that even he would have trouble he had trouble rebelling against the god. So then once they start to get closer to the inside, that's when the guards tell them to all grab their guns and to help give suppressive fire and to take out and to fire on sight of any prisoners come in there. This is when Muscular finally shows him. He wreaks havoc and asks, where is the entrance to paradise? Where is that? We see more of the prisoners breaking out of Tartarus, where we finally see Moonfish actually makes his return as well. I didn't know, and I'm pretty sure this is the first one we actually seen him without his mask. I might be wrong. I don't know if we did see it in season 3, but this is at least the first time that I can remember him seeing what he actually looks like behind that like leather mask, gimp suit he was wearing in season 3. And that is when, ladies and gentlemen, where the new character, lady, I'm still on her name, hears some knocking on one of the prison doors. She opens it up, and it ends up being Overhaul, which, like I said, it was very awesome to see Overhaul get a cameo. Like I said, I was hoping in my review last week, I was hoping that Overhaul would get a cameo in this episode, which she ended up getting, which I was very happy to see, man. And I find it's kind of funny that she's the one that lets him out there. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that's a sign for Mortal Kombat. Be like, hey, bro, you're gonna like this chick. She saved your favorite villain, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'm glad Overhaul got a cameo. Kind of surprised he doesn't have his arms still. Like I thought they would give him like prosthetic arms or something. But nah, he's just up. His like jacket, like sleeves are just flopping around, man. Hopefully this means that Overhaul will eventually come back into the story. I hope, but. Either way, it was cool that he got a cameo, man. So then the prisoners of Tartarus make it to the top, and that's when they realize they can't leave because the bridges were taken down, so they're just stuck, stranded on Tartarus. But have no fear, Shigaraki is here. And I know that, I gotta say, I love the shot of him like where he's like on top of like the staircase or whatever, looking down on all the villains the villains that are standing there trying to figure a way to get out there. I thought that shot looked pretty cool. And so Sugar All For One tells him to come with him if he wants to leave, and that's when All For One shows up. And this is when we also get a good look at that like thing that he's bringing with him, which seems to be levitating, which I don't know how that's doing it, but I'm assuming it's one of All For One's quirk is causing it. This is how he's able to get this thing to levitate, unless there's like, I don't know, jetpacks or something in there, or some other mechanism that causes it to levitate. I don't know how this thing works, but either way, man. No, I gotta say, the cinematography and the storyboarding in this scene looked really good as well. Sugar, as All For One rises up the steps, he says, I want you to watch by my side. In the void era that's about to begin, a more perfect demon lord will be born. This is the story of how I become the greatest demon lord. And then we get this amazing half and half face shot of All For One and Shigaraki, man. Oh, which I've mentioned this countless times. You guys are long-time viewers of the channel and of my reviews. You guys know I'm a sucker for these kinds of shots, man. So obviously I popped for this shot. Especially when I saw it on Twitter. This was one of the shots that Bone showed off from the previous stills. Oh, looks amazing, man. Love that shot. So from there, we get into some more narration from Izuku. It's been like a couple hours at this point, where we find out that after they broke out of Tartarus, various of the prisons were also broken into as well by the people that broke out of Tartarus, and that All For One was able to escape on an emergency aircraft only operated by Tartarus staff members. And then we get I gotta say the storyboarding here for this section was really cool too, where we get the shot of like some of the Nomus and prisoners breaking down, destroying one of the prisons. That like panic shot we got that also looked really good as well, man. Storyboarding was great in this episode as it has been for all of season 6 so far. So we're back with Sugar All For One and the rest of the league, along with Spinner. He's still with them for some reason. I'm kind of surprised he's still around with them, and so Sugar All For One asks them to look over his body as he sleeps, and this is when Spinner, which I gotta say this right now. Shout out to Spinner's Japanese VA. His performance here was fantastic, as well as the key animation here. The key animation on facial expressions were also again fantastic as well. So he tells Shigaraki that he had more in common with than he expected, like video games and such. And to reform a society filled overwhelmed with fake heroes, he identified with Stain's ideology, and that's why he joined the League. And he tells him that, he lit a fire under the empty knee. We get another flashback to, I think, season 5 is when he said, so let's wreck it all. And he continues on, it made me feel like I want to see the future Shigaraki could create. This is when we get that shot of a Spinner that I was talking about. The key animation here on his face was fantastic, man. I loved it. And that the one he's following is Shigaraki. Who are you? And so All For One, or Sugar All For One, tells him that he respects Tomo's feelings above all else, and that he'll have him rest until his body is complete. We then get another shot of All For One as he has fully escaped the prison, as he's looking over the sunrise. No lie, this shot looked pretty amazing. The sun itself, sunrise here, everything. Like, hey, listen, I know people have been bitching about the sky, and of course, Brown Tail will make his video kind of like fixing up the animation, or rather changing up the animation to give it back that tone that people were looking for, which I did do a reaction to that video. Probably should have mentioned at the start of the video, but that's already up on the channel. If I remember, I'll put it up in the iCards above for you guys. But yeah, so yeah. You guys haven't really been bothered by the blue sky, but this shot, gotta say, it looked amazing. But hey, that's Golden Hour for you. Golden Hour looks amazing in anything, man. So it is what it is. Anyway, but yeah. All For One says that he's now rise as the absolute ruler, the Demon Lord. Before we cut over to about 2 days later with Bakugo as he wakes up. No lie. Did anybody else, when they see the shot of Bakugo wake up, did they instantly think this? Did anyone else remind us of Kaneki waking up in TG at the start of the series? Was that just me? I don't know. I just looked at the shot. All I could think about was Kaneki and Teaching. But whatever the case may be, he wakes up. You have a bunch of other members of Class A, Sero, Manet, and a few others all losing their mind. Like, hey, he's awake. And now he's mad, just like his normal self. And Bakugo tells like, what? Don't act like nothing's happening. What is this place? And they tell him that this is the Central Hospital. And Sato tells him that this hospital has the latest and greatest tech. And you have Mineta clinging on, while Mineta's clinging on to Bakugo, which, did anyone else think this thing was kind of a little odd? Because, I don't know, just because given the fact how Mineta hasn't really shown to have any real connection with any of his other classmates, and, you know, not being that much of an emotional guy. Did anyone think it was kind of weird that he was, like, clinging to Bakugo, like, oh, thank God you're alive, sobbing his eyes out? I mean, I guess he could have just been worried about his classmate because, you know, they're classmates, but, I don't know. Thought the scene was a little odd, but I don't know if any of you guys felt the same way. Anyway, Bakugo is, of course, asking what happened with Izuku, Todoroki, and the others, and Sero tells him, I'll tell you what happened, but please stay calm while you do, while I tell while you hear. Which, yeah, whatever. So then we then head over to Gran Torino, who is still alive and kicking. You know, we get flashbacks to what happened to him and Shimura with, you know, about, you know, her, like, you know, letting go of her son and changing up the documents and everything, which, no lie, I don't know about you guys, but I honestly thought Gran Torino was going to die in the start, especially given, you know, the death flag they're waving with the ED, with, you know, his his cape, moving in the wind and everything, and once I kind of put the pieces two and together that the cape Izuku was wearing in this arc is Gran Torino's like, oh fuck, he's gonna die, isn't he? But no, he's still alive, so that's good to see. Anyway, we then head over back to Ayazawa and President Might. The doctor tells him if he got here any later, he would probably been much worse. But thanks to Lock and the others prioritizing your lives, and he tells him not to worry about anything else right now, just to worry about his recovery. So that's when President Mike tells Ayazawa about all the crimes related to jailbreaks that are happening all over the place, and that, you know, the public is letting them have it. And President Mike tells them that they did what they were supposed to do, and we fought with our lives on the line, and this is the result. And that's when Ayazawa asks him what happened, what about his students. We then head over back to Kaminari with Jiro, and we see that there's a bunch of press outside them protesting, with one of the protesting signs saying "tax thief" or something like that, and I'm like, what? Like, some of them were saying, talk about Endeavor, you know, of course, what happened with him and Toya, but then there was this one guy that just had "tax thief" on it. Like, what? What the hell does this have to do with anything, bro? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with, like, because he isn't, like, a true hero and he does have a dark past. And I'm assuming, you know, they taxes go in with, like, heroes and everything. Maybe that's what the dude was referring to. I don't know. I just thought that sign was weird, man. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but that sign seemed out of place to me. Then we cut over to Todoroki's room where he's there with Mina, Momo, Kirishima, and Sojiro. And, you know, Mina's crying about, of course, what's happened, and Momo's telling him, like, we know who you really are, Todoroki, you know, and we tried to help him out. We also see, like, a bunch of press are outside asking questions about Endeavor, what's going on there. We see he's in surgery. We also see a shot of Fuyumi, Natsu, as well as Todoroki's mom in the crowd. Now, interesting thing enough, both Fuyumi and Todoroki's mom are both somewhat wearing disguises, or at least some to hide their identities, but Natsu isn't wearing anything. I assume because Natsu isn't just in the public eye as much as Fuyumi and his mom were, and also because he was separated from the family, he wasn't really connected with Endeavor for most of their life. That's probably why they wouldn't recognize him as much as they would Fuyumi and his mom. That's at least my theory of why those two were wearing disguises, but he wasn't. Whatever the case may be, we then get a bunch of flashbacks to what happened with season 5 when that one guy saw the darkness would come. Davi's dance with Todoroki, and Todoroki says that his flames were stronger than Endeavor's were. They were strong. They were strong flames of hate. And he says he's been watching this whole time, destroying his own body and getting other people involved. He's me. And I love this shot as well, where they fade Dabi's face and fade into what Todoroki looked like back in season 1, which, no lie, this season 1 design was pretty cool, where he had, like, half his face covered in the eyes, and he had, like, that, like, little red eye, everything that was, like, you know, where his, like, scar was. It was a pretty cool design, man, honestly. We get a flashback, of course, back to Sports Festival, where he said, like, I will not use my father's word, blah, 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 you know, so, which, Which he is right though. They're like, when you really think about Dabi and how Dabi is, then or now anyway, and Todoroki was then those first 2 seasons, they are very similar. And when we ever do, which it seems like it's gonna happen, we do get to that true Dabi versus Todoroki one-on-one fight where Horikoshi gives it all the time it needs to, do the story and the fighting and stuff, everything. It's gonna be awesome, bro, when these two actually truly face, because Todoroki says that he's gonna be up the one to face Toya. His dad can't do it. So whenever we get to that final, whenever we get to that actual showdown, man, it's gonna be awesome, man. And I can't wait till we get to that. It's gonna be legendary. Anyway, that is when Fuyumi and Natsu come in there. Momo tells us that his throat is badly burned and he can't talk, which doesn't really make sense because he wasn't breathing fire at all and he sounded fine in the actual episodes. But I don't know, maybe it was probably just from the strain of all his flames and everything. Probably that. But whatever the case may be, they tell him that they already heard from the doctor. We see that Todoroki's mom has also joined them as well, which it seems like we're going to get this conversation maybe in the backstory of the Todoroki family next week, which, oh my god, that episode's going to be amazing, man. We see Bakugo marching towards Izuku's room as Sato and Mineta are trying to hold him back, but they can't stop him. We get flat to what Sairo told them, or they said like they were bad, that Todoroki and Mr. Aizawa were badly injured, but they'll live. And we see Izuku, and he hasn't shown any signs of waking up. At the end of the episode, all the Bakugo's telling him, if that bastard, if he dies, I'll kill him. So that is where the episode ends, man. And then now we get to the next episode preview, which, like I said, looks really cool. First and foremost, the car that Best Jeez and Hawks are driving in looks like a Batmobile. Let's get that out of the way. It looks like a Batmobile, but it looks like we're going to be seeing them, like touring around the city, taking out to like catch maybe some of the escaped prisoners and everything. But also looks like we're going to be focusing on Todoroki's family. Now I heard, because this was shown off in like an interview or something a couple days ago, that the key animator that basically, the animator that does all the key visuals and everything, and the guy that basically can like perfectly matches Mortal style, he's the guy you get to make sure the key animation is extra crispy and looks just like how it does in the manga, is going to work on the Todoroki family flashback, which seems like that's going to be next week, which, bro, that's going to be awesome. But bro, I'm definitely very intrigued with this scene with Hawks and Best Genius touring the scene, which looks like we might also get some backstory on Hawks a little bit, which I'm really hoping we do, because you guys know how much I love Hawks and I've been really interested by his backstory. So I'm hoping we get some of that along with whatever's going on with the Todoroki family, which looks to be, this episode might end up being one of my favorites of the season so far when we get to that episode there. But anyway, guys, that's when this video off. Overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new, follow me on my social media if you feel like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.